everybody, and welcome to Senior Susie Stamps. I'm Julia, and today I was going to get into my Christmas stamps again and look in the box for some Dove stamps and Peace Be Unto You stamps for some Christmas cards. So I've made some this week out of several of these, and today I wanted to use this deep red stamp called World Peace, and it's SKU number 3X405581, and I thought it would make a nice Christmas card, so that's what we're going to use today. I've also pulled some sentiment stamps out, and they came from various stamp sets. Peace Be Unto You, and May Peace Be More Than a Season, May It Be a Way of Life, and then May the Blessing of Peace, Hope, and Love be your gifts this Christmas and throughout the coming year. So I thought those would make some nice Christmas cards. So let me get this box out of the way, and I have another little T-Nightsy Dove stamp here that I thought we maybe would use on the inside. Let's look at the supplies that we're going to need today. This is a top fold A2 size card, and I have my mouse pad that I cut in half that's a squishy rubber that I like to use when I'm hand stamping. I have some VersaFine Onyx Black, and I have a piece of black fun foam that has adhesive on one side, and my white paper scrap tray. So I'm going to get this piece out because I'm fairly certain that I don't have a piece large enough. Let me get this out of the way. For those of you that are new to the channel, I have all these nice little trays up here on the out of camera range that have foam tape and scratch paper and large and small white scraps, my everyday use ink pads, card bases, and quarter panels, and mini slimline bases. And then over here on this side, I have my diamond dot trays and my little 2 and 3 millimeter gems and miscellaneous card bases. So I have all that stuff out in front, out of the camera range, where you all don't have to look at it all the time. But I thought I would share that with you one more time. And I also wanted to show you some cards. Now this one I've put just a little small line of real light gray marker around the dove to help lift it up off the page, and just the barest little bit of green ink on that leaf, and that's all I did to this card. And then a very simple sentiment on the inside, and that card's finished. These are very, very simple, quick cards to make. This is basically the same card, just a different stamp. It has the little gray around the bird, which makes it lift up off the page. I did some 2 millimeter red gems on this one as a color accent, and then a little corresponding stamp and sentiment on the inside. Now this one, I used blue fun foam instead of the black, and I did a little bit of drywall tape treatment around the outside, and then I had this glued down originally, and I put some of these little dots out around here. Well, then I smeared them. Have y'all done that before? I hate to tell you the number of times I do that, and it's specifically with these little metallic pens. You would think I would learn, but I haven't yet. So I had to pull all that stuff off, and I made a little backer and just stuck that right down there on top of it, and made some little yellow stars that kind of coordinate with those stars, and the card's finished. And then the last one that I made is this one, and I think we're going to make one similar to this today, and it has a white panel and then a smaller white panel with, of course, the black fun foam backer on it. The fun foam gives it a lot of dimension and depth and stands up off the page. You could accomplish a similar result by using black paper and then some foam squares up underneath of it. But to me, when you use the black fun foam, it just is a little different card than what we normally would see. And there's the inside of that one. Now, before we go any further, I want to show you a card that was a fail. I thought it would be fun to try to stamp onto the fun foam directly and use some of this colored fun foam that I have. Well, it does not work. I stamped this 3 days ago now with my VersaFine pigment ink, and the ink is still wet. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it simply will not dry up. So this one, I'm going to cut the front off of it and put it in the rubbish, so it's gone. Let me get my fingers clean now. Hang on. I have not ever used this stamp. I got it a couple of years ago, and it has never seen ink, so I thought it was about time. And I have a clear block that I'm going to stamp that on, and then I want to measure that first to see how big a piece of paper I actually need. And this looks like the stamp is about 2.5 inches wide, so let me get my layers chart. And for 2.5 inches wide, I want one that is 3 3/4 inches long, and that will be a layer. And then for the fun foam, I'll cut it 2 3/4 by 4. Let me get those cut. And I will save these little pieces. Those are nice for elevating other things at a later date. So here's my piece of fun foam, and then I'm going to cut this one at 2.5 by 3 3/4, and that will ride right up there on top of that nicely. And these I can put back in my scrap. And then I'm going to reach over here and get a quarter panel and cut it down. I thought I could do it one-handed. I couldn't. Okay, and I believe that's all I'm going to need my layers chart for. So let's see. I want to stamp this on the top part of this, and then I believe I'm going to put the Peace Be Unto You on the lower part of this panel. And I'm going to try not to put this on my MISTI, so I believe I will use my little rubber pad here. And I'm going to wipe off these little spots of excess ink because I don't want to get those onto my panel. And here we go. If I get my head in the way, I'm sorry. I'm going to let that rest for just a minute so that the pigment ink can transfer onto the paper. Sometimes I think we pull our stamps just a little too soon. And then I'm going to lift straight up, and that's a good image. Except I do have just a little bit of grunge right there, don't I? Well, let's just flip it over and see if we can get a little bit better result on the back side. We'll try it that way, and I'm going to spray my little baby wipe with just a little spritz of alcohol. And clean off my stamp corners just a little bit better that way. There we go. Now, we'll try again. And I got some more on. It must hang down just a little bit there. Okay. Now let's try that again. See if we can do a little better job this time. And lift straight up. And there we are. And then I'm going to do the same with my Peace Be Unto You. I always try to do some dove cards at Christmas. well, in addition to other types of cards. There we go. So that makes the primary panel. Now let me get this put away for right now. And we'll get that glued up onto the fun foam. Sorry, I had to stop there for a minute. Lucy was at the door whining. She wanted to come in and play today. So, I'm going to put this on with some art glitter glue. It grabs a little faster. Use my tweezers to make sure I get it placed right. And then any little glue that squirts out, I'm just going to take and rub off with my fingernail, because I don't want it marring up the foam. Here we go. There's another little piece right there. And then I'm going to turn it over and rub it from the back and let that panel make really good contact on that fun foam, because if you don't, it takes a while for the fun foam and glue to tie up with each other. There we go. Now, that's that. So now what I want to do is to figure out my panel here that I'm going to do my script on the back. This card makes a beautiful card just in black and white with no additional script on it. It's just a nice, straightforward, easy card, and you can see here how much of a difference that black fun foam makes to this card. But I want to try this other panel first and see. So I'm going to use this stamp, May Peace Be More Than a Season, Maybe It Be a Way of Life. And I'm going to do that in my VersaFine as well. I need a piece of scratch paper. And I'm going to start at the top and get it in the center. And then I'm going to move around the card. With my script stamp. There. I think that's going to be plenty. Now I'm going to change my ink out from the VersaFine pigment to my Memento Tuxedo Black. And I have a little foam blending tool here. You can tell it's been kind of well used, but it still is very usable. And all I'm going to do on this one is bump. Just bump that edge. And I'm going to let the foam ink for me. And I'm bumping kind of hard so that I get the ink moving onto the page a little bit, and especially in the corners, I want to have a little bit more come into the corner. This is just a different type of edging than what I normally do. It really almost looks a little like airbrush, I think. Just a little spritzy, bumping corner edge treatment there. Okay, let's try that and see. Looks like I got a little spot right there, but I'm hopeful that the focal image will cover that up. Let's just see. Yeah, it does. That's good. Okay, so I'm ready to, I can glue this down onto the card now. I want to make sure that I don't have any white core edge showing on that. Good. And I'm going to use my Books by Hand PVA glue to glue this panel down. And I'm going to use my tweezers to put that down as well. I'm just checking all 4 corners, 4 sides. And then I'm going to rub it from the back because that is pigment ink and it may not be completely dry yet. There we go. Now, I'm going to pull my adhesive sheet covering off the back. And I'm going to put a few little spots of art glitter glue because what I have found with these panels is you can peel them back off. And I don't want them to peel loose in the mail or in storage while I'm waiting for Christmas season to arrive. And again, I'm rubbing that from the back. And so you can see what a nice card that makes, black and white. But I do think on these leaves, I'm going to use a Sharpie marker. I got a set of ultra fine point Sharpie markers in a array of colors, and I have no idea what color this is, but it's just a really nice peaceful green, and that's what I'm going to do the leaves in. And I like to use this little Sharpie marker because of the fine point on it. There we go. Now, I also think I'm going to put just a touch of that gray ink around the dove to lift it off just a little bit. And I'm going to go all the way around this image. There. And that just adds a little bit of 3D dimension to that card a little bit. Now, if I wanted to, I could take a ultra fine blending brush. This came in a set of makeup brushes, and I have it back here on the back side of my desk. Don't look at the dust. But it's a great set, and I've had it for years, and then it has this nice little holder. And so what I'm thinking is I might cut a circle. Let's see if we can figure out how wide a circle I need for a piece. That's 1 3/4 inches. I'll be right back. I happen to have 1 3/4 inch punch. And I can punch a piece of copy paper out and make a little mask for that area. And then let's see if I can get just a little bit of ink blended around the outside of that. And I'm going to use this nice balmy blue, just coming from the inside to the outside with just a little bit of blue can sometimes add a little sky look to an image. Let's see if we like that. If we don't, it's too late now. You know, that's the way it goes sometimes. Yeah. Yep, I kind of like that. I think it actually needs to be a little bit darker than it is. And this little brush keeps it good and tight in there. And if you do the tap off and get the big bulk of the ink off, then it's pretty easy to just add a little bit at a time that way. There. Now, I hope you can see that. That little bit of blue ink just really made the world stand out on this card. And it ends up being a really nice Christmas card that way. Let's see what we're going to do for the inside. I'm going to use this stamp. May the blessings of peace, hope, and love be your gifts this Christmas and throughout the coming year. I'm going to go back to my VersaFine Onyx Black on that. There we are. And I have a little tiny dove here. And that's what we're going to use to pull the front to the inside. Here. Card's done. I'm going to let this pigment ink dry up a little bit. You could add gems to this if you wanted to. You could add a little color for the beak. I don't think that's necessary. I think the little green leaf and the little blush of blue around the outside of that world really makes this a nice, classy card. Let me show you the rest of them again. There's this one, the blue and red one. And this one. And then the other one with a stamped background. So, that's the cards for today, and I hope you all have a great week, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye, everybody.